Okay, so hello everyone. My name is Vikas Agrawal and I'm the founder and CEO of AIF and PMS Experts India. So what we're gonna do is today is to give you complete demo of our platform called aifpms.com. We've got a lot of requests from investors like you, and what we thought is why not we'll spend some time and give you complete understanding about how we built up the platform. So when I was building up this platform, there are two things that which came to my mind. Of course, I spent about 20 years in the industry, and after spending 20 years, what I thought is, one that I realized that there is a huge gap in the industry in terms of, evaluating various AIF and PMS strategies, because there is either a lack of data or there is lack of information which is available. So, for example, if you are a mutual fund investor, you have value research online.com or a morning research on online.com, where you just go and look at which mutual fund has delivered how much return in what period. So all the data points are one click away from you. Thanks to regulator and registrar for providing those sort of data feeds to these organizations. But unfortunately, if you look at AIF and PMS, these sort of things are not yet available. So while the regulator is working on and the other organizations are working on, but as of now, there is nothing like that. So what I thought is I build up a platform, I create an ecosystem where we can reach out to more number of investors, help them and provide them all sort of data points which is required to evaluate various AIF and PMS strategies, and at the same time help them take the right decision when it comes to investing in alternate investments. So that was one. And the second thing is, of course, after the reform taken place in AIF as an instrument, 2011 was the time when SEBI defined this as an instrument, and thereafter, it started shaping up. What we are witnessing is this industry is growing very, very fast, rapidly. In fact, I would say that the kind of numbers that I was looking at the other day, I see that 35% growth in this industry year on year, which means that there are a lot of investors who are taking a good amount of interest in this industry, in this AIF and PMS industry. They have some of them. What we are looking at is what we are witnessing is there is huge amount of value migration happening from mutual fund investors to PMS and AIF investor. Well, I'm not saying that mutual fund is good or bad, or PMS is good or bad. Is just that there are investors who have shown interest and they have separate investment buckets, and they would look at some amount of money to be invested in mutual fund, and they would also look at large amount of money to be invested in portfolio management services and alternate investment funds. So with me, I have my colleague Chetan. Chetan has been doing studies, and at the same time, he's also working with us. He's a fantastic resource. So what we do is we'll give you a demo of AIF PMS, and then we'll take question and answer. Thank you.
Thank you, Vikas, for the
so what are you, Chetan?
Yeah, thank you, Vikas. Thanks a lot. What I'll do, I'll just share my screen and then we can proceed further. So I hope my screen is visible. Vikas?
Yeah, Chetan.
Yeah. So just to walk you through, as the company's website suggests, we are the one of the largest digital platforms with AIF and PMS, that is alternative investment funds and portfolio management services. When we started our journey, it was basically a completely digital journey because we started in the times of corona virus, and it was completely lockdown scenario. But now recently, with the unlocking down conditions happening, and it's possible and it's feasible to meet the clients wherever it is necessary. So we are converting to be the largest digital platforms in AIF and PMS. We very much focus, as Vikas suggested, very much focus only on the AIF and PMS, that is HNI and ultra HNI segments, which act basically states that the family or the individual with having a residue with an individual who has a surplus of 2 CR or more. So that's our niche segment. When we are talking about AIF and PMS Experts, a platform Vikas has developed, we have more than 10,000 registered users on our website currently, and we have NRI clients from 10 different countries. We have collaborated with multiple PMS fund houses. You can see a rolling band on my screen, which states which highlights some of the fund managers we are currently working with, and Obviously, it includes a huge list of fund houses. We have tried to collaborate with almost each and every fund house present across India. Some of them might have left out, and there are particular reasons about it. For that, we'll definitely need to contact our experts team in order to get more insights about that. What is a unique proposition when you are building up something? What is a unique proposition which we have is, when we are talking about wealth management, AIF and PMS are different investment avenues as compared to mutual funds or direct equities, and they definitely need some different kind of expertise in order to identify in order to identify numerous fund managers which are present across the country, what kind of work they do, are they adhering to their philosophies, etc. And that's why you need to have such kind of domain experts, and that's the job what we'll do for you. How we'll do that is basically we'll ask you to fill out a risk questionnaire profile, which will help us to understand what is your risk appetite. Then wherever it is possible, and after finalization of your particular PMS or AIF scheme what you want to invest in, we'll make sure whenever it is possible to do the paperless onboarding, and whenever it is not possible, we'll make sure that you don't have to step out of your house unless and until it's extremely mandatory. But we'll make sure that all the documents are delivered to your house and the paperless onboarding is done. Uh, we actually kind of create a customized and personalized portfolio. We are talking about HN and ultra HN investors here, so we do not want your portfolio of multiple PMS fund managers will should have a duplicated stocks. We want something unique, something customizable, and something what we call as asset diversification. Not asset here, but particularly diversification of your risk among different managers in order to generate the maximum returns with a minimal amount of risk which should be taken. So that's what is our unique proposition, and that's how it helps us. I hope I'm clear up till now. After that, what makes us unique is basically the comparison. We, as Vikas told you, that we have collaborated with multiple PMS fund houses, and we collect the data from all these fund houses on a monthly basis. So the data what we collect is complete in the SEBI approved format. The same data is reported by these fund managers to the SEBI as well. So we have a we compare this data on a holistic approach. We have a separate team which is sitting in Bombay, which works on research and development type of work, where they analyze what are the returns generated, what are the future returns which you should be expecting. We basically help you to recommend this portfolio managers on the basis of risk appetite what an investor has. We help you to select this particular portfolio managers by arranging the direct calls with these fund houses wherever it is necessary. We provide you unbiased approach. As I told you that I have more than as I told you that I have more we have collaborated with more than almost 95% of the universe of PMS and AIF. We do not have a particular bias towards any of the PMS or AIF fund house we work towards. It's a completely unbiased approach, because whatever for us what matters is the customer centric. As we are a customer centric organization, from us what matters is a long term relationship with the existing investors, rather than focusing on particular fund managers. We help you in doing the execution part as well. For example, you once finalize a particular PMS or AIF scheme to invest in, we'll ask you to, just send us your documents, and we'll execute the processes wherever it is necessary. We'll help you to continuously monitor your portfolio on a monthly basis. We'll send you the reports, whatever is required from our end, in order to make sure that you are always kept in loop with your investments. And if there are any changes happening, we'll also send you text, or we'll also keep you updated about it. Now, most important question what comes here is, why should you choose us? Reasons for choosing our experts. Because let's talk about the experience what we have on board. Our company is headed by our company CEO, Mr. Vikas Agrawal, who carries almost more than 2.5 years, 2.5 decades of experience. He was a ex-senior vice president at Motilal Oswal Group and private wealth management associates. He was heading southern and western markets of India for Motilal Oswal, and with this huge amount of risk what he has, we kind of believe that we know what are the inherent risks which are involved in the market, and we also believe that we have that decision making ability with the separate R&D team what I told you about, because we know what are the risks involved, and we know what are the returns which one can expect. Uh, the most important parameter which we put forward, and which what kind of makes us unique apart from other organizations, is optimal goal setting. Whenever you go for any kind of instruments, let's say for example mutual funds or AIF or PMS, people will always talk about lucrative returns which you'll get in hand. but nobody talks to you about what are the inherent risks involved, and that's what we do. We'll tell you about the risk side as well, and we'll help you to set the realistic goals. Should not be something very lucrative and very unachievable. A goal should always be smart, specific, measurable, attainable, relatable, and timely. So that kind of methodology what we follow when we are talking to our valuable investors. We also publish multiple top performing PMS schemes on our website, as you can see on the screen. For example, in the case of small cap, these all the top performing schemes are only on the basis of the 1 year return. Let me highlight that part because that is also very important. Then we also publish multi-cap schemes. We have mid-cap schemes as per the 1 year return basis, and we also have large cap schemes. The most important part I would like to show here is what is the fruit of Vikas's idea is this pictorial representation of the returns what we have generated. So this is we are unique in this kind because as per my knowledge, no other organization across India has this kind of pictorial representation in terms of returns. So don't worry, this is not a bell curve. This does not tell you that your returns will go up and they'll fall down. It's just more of a cycle what it talks about. For example, let's see when we are on the part of 1 year horizon, and if we put here the aggressive leaders funds have delivered 46.38% return, whereas value questions deliver 33.89% returns. And x-axis you have horizon and y-axis you have percentage of returns. So 1 year obviously will have a higher return because markets have been very kind, but when you look at last 5 years return, you will also see the kind of returns. And then the 10-year returns for some funds then are not there, that's why we have put it as a zero. But since inception returns, you can always compare with multiple fund houses. Let's come to the important question. Like I've been telling you about, we help you to analyze the risk and we help you to narrow down the multiple PMS options which are available in the market to top 1% option as per your risk appetite. How do we eliminate those 99% options? Let me tell you that we have 58 parameters which checks technical and qualitative parameters, which checks the fund manager's ability to pick up the stocks, etc., and the returns which they should be generated. Broadly, these 58 parameters what we have, which we do our background study on, they're divided onto the three major pillars. The first important pillar or the first important part of the pyramid is investment manager style. As you can see, it is present on the top pyramid of the screen. What the style means, like there are multiple fund managers, but either they can be value investors, or they can be growth investors, or they can be contra investors. Also, one needs to analyze, understand that is this particular style is suiting with what our investor wants to deal with. Is he a safe investor? Does he want to invest into growth stocks? So that kind of analysis what we'll do. Apart from that, I also believe that a particular fund manager has a particular philosophy by which he grows, and we make sure that this philosophy and investors horizon and goals are aligning with each other. Otherwise, it does not make sense to match both of these two people. The second important is portfolio quality. We have had instances of Yes Bank where it was a very good growth stock, and it has fallen from a very good amount of 370 rupees to 12.5 rupees. Instead of one of the wealth creators, it turned out to be a wealth deteriorator, right? So we do not want any kind of such kind of poor quality of the stocks should be picked up, which will kind of erode the wealth what our investors have gathered throughout the hard work what they have done over the period of time. The last important point is performance and consistency. When we are talking about consistency, we do not talk about 1 year records, and particularly we do not talk about when we are talking about PMS, we do not ask the investor to look at the returns of last 3 months or 6 months. What we exactly look at is the returns of these fund managers that they have started their journey with. I'll give you an
Yeah,
example.
just to
Sure.
yeah, please go ahead. Yeah.
No, it's okay, because if you want to add anything, you
Yeah, so just to add so basically when I was developing this framework, so let me tell you that me, myself and my family members have been investing in PMS for over a decade now. And what we've learned hard way is that there are two ways to look at style. So what happens is that, for example, if you've invested in a particular style, let's say which is a GARP, which is growth at a reasonable price, and if the other portfolio manager is also following the same style, then it becomes a duplication and not diversification. But sometimes what happens that as an investor, I feel that okay, I've invested 50 lakhs to one portfolio manager and 50 to other. and then my diversification is done. But that's not the right way of looking at it. So it's very, very important. And we spend about 60-65% of our time to understand that what sort of style portfolio manager is followed. And more importantly, how he has followed these styles during the bad times, because when market falls, then, for saving the portfolio managers sometimes go out of the box and change the style of the portfolio, which we are not so comfortable with. So we go to an extent that we look at since inception, how many stocks have been bought, how many calls have gone wrong, how many calls have gone right. So that gives us more conviction and data points that whether the portfolio is really running a high conviction ideas, which portfolio managers are known for, or the very objective of PMS, or that he's running on the probability and buying and selling stocks depending upon how the markets are behaving at different point of time. The other thing is quality that plays very, very important role when it comes to portfolio management services. And there are two things that I want to highlight here. One that, since we come from a research background, I used to work for Motilal Oswal as an organization. They are known for their equity ideas. Quality needs to be maintained. And as Chetan rightly said, that there are portfolio managers, when they come on CNBC, they speak something else. When you look at their portfolio, you will find yes banks of the world as well. So it's very, very important that essentially we examine the portfolio quality very, very carefully. And then there are various parameters that we look at. We look at the ROE of the portfolio, we look at the ROC of the portfolio, we look at what sort of EPS the portfolio is generating at an aggregate level, because ultimately you make as much money in the stock market as company makes. And if the company has good amount of EPS, obviously we see and anticipate how well what is going to be the next 1 to 3 years of returns. So we examine the quality part very, very carefully. We do not like portfolio managers who don't maintain the quality. And there are good portfolio managers. What they do is for maintaining the quality. In fact, there are some small cap portfolio managers. Sometimes what happens, there are few new ideas which are emerging in the markets. Maybe a small company or a micro cap company in the verge of becoming small cap and mid cap and large cap subsequently. uh, the trend is that sometimes these portfolio managers have an edge to reach out to that company earlier than the mutual fund guys, because when you look at mutual fund, the kind of size the mutual fund managers are managing, even if they deploy 1 or 2%, you need to have that kind of liquidity in the stock. And generally, these new ideas do not have that kind of liquidity. So portfolio managers sometimes takes the advantage of reaching out to those companies and buy at an early stage of their growth curve and ride through the entire growth journey in order to make the highest returns than the other players who later on enter into. So these are the two things that I wanted to highlight. And for the consistency part, what Chetan rightly said, so what we do not like is the roller coaster ride. Even if somebody is maintaining a Q2 in terms of quartile ranking, we are okay with that. But what we like is consistency. So we do not want performance like sometimes you are in Q4 and then you are in Q4. So the due diligence takes place a lot. I mean, the team is headed by myself and Romit, and both of us bring about more than 20 years of experience on the table. And then we have 11-member team, and their full-time job is to do complete research on each and every portfolio that we manage. Over to you, Chetan.
Thank you, Vikas, for your valuable insights. When we're speaking about consistency, I just wanted to give a live example of one of my very couple of fund managers what we have already
Sure.
put on the screen as some of the best fund managers. Just to give an example of one of the top performing fund managers, whose name is Mr. Sunil Singhania. Started his career in 1990, and he was a CIO at Reliance Growth Mutual Fund. Reliance Mutual Fund, actually. He was running a strategy called as Reliance Growth Mutual Fund, for which the NAV was 10 rupees in the year 1995. Over the course of last 25 years, the NAV has been turned out to be somewhere in the range of 2000 bucks. So that's the kind of growth what we are talking about. 200 times he has multiplied the money, and that's what we are talking about, right? So he was the one fund manager what I wanted to mention about. We also have Mr. Samir Arora, who is also one of the top performing fund managers. Uh, who is from the Helios Capital. He has multiplied his wealth by somewhere around 450 times, right, with us? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Oh yes, so ever since he's become the fund manager, I was looking at the track record. The fund is almost multiplied by more than 450 times.
Right. So wonderful fund managers we work with. We work with only top quality fund managers such as Bharat Shah. who is the director of executive director of ASK Group. ASK has been working in the markets, particularly PMS and AIF markets, for the last 2 decades, and they have a very good and very consistent track record. So the next is Ramdev Agrawal, obviously, who is the chairman of Motilal Oswal Group. Vikas has worked very closely with him. So we also work with Prashant Khemke, who is the founder and CIO, CFA, founder and CEO, CFA at White Up Capital Management. We have Kenneth Andred, who is the CIO at Old Bridge Capital. Then we also work with Mr. Hiren Med, who is from Alchemy Capital, Saurabh Mukherjee of Marcellus. Then Viraj Mehta of Equirius. He has delivered one of the finest brain working in the mid, small and micro cap markets. Again, one of the again finest brain is Samit Vartak, who belongs to one of the small city near Pune, which is called as Satara, and now his fund has delivered stellar records of consistently 30% CAGR in the last 22 years. Right, Vikas? Not 22, 12 years, 12, 13 years.
Yeah. So that's a back tested data of last 12 years, where the returns are coming out to more than 36% CAGR.
Right. So these are multiple fund managers who we work with. For example, you have Ms. Devina Mehra, who is handling First Global Group, Tahir Badsha. Then we also have Anirudh Sarkar. He is from the Quest Management, Quest Investment Advisor. Then we have Amit Jeswani, again one of the finest person from Stallion Asset Managers. So there is a numerous list of people what we are working with right now. I'll just go back to my original screen and then proceed further. So apart from that, apart from that, we keep updating about the current updates, whatever updates are there. For example, latest news from Bacchus was they started accepting PMS funds. They started accepting funds in PMS, which was closed, which is called as emerging opportunities, and that was open till 10th March. So whenever this kind of updates are there in the market, we'll put it on the website on our current update section, so that it helps our investors to know what kind of investment opportunity they should be looking at. Coming to the work, what we do on a regular basis, we keep on organizing multiple webinars with top fund managers present across India. What these webinars do is it helps us to aware and educate the investors regarding these two upcoming avenues. Such as AIF and PMS. For example, we have a webinar on 1st June at 5 p.m. With Rajesh Kothari from what is from Alphaculate.
Yeah, you'll have to mute it. Yeah, so maybe scroll it down and mute that, because the new video is coming up. Yeah, just mute this here. Yeah.
Okay, I'm so sorry. Yeah. So we have another webinar which is organized on 1st June at 5 p.m. with Rajesh Kothari, who is the founder and managing director at Alphaculate Advisors. So the topic of the webinar will be, have we reached the bottom? So it's a very good webinar, because currently we have seen a lot of consolidation and a lot of correction happening in the market. Markets are already pretty much down as per their 52 weeks high. Particularly IT industry was 10% down in the April itself. So it looks like a very interesting topic to gather some knowledge about. And these are the
just to add, Chetan, what Chetan is saying, that ever since we've started AIF PMS, our vision was very clear, that we want to educate and empower the entire investor community. And therefore, I'm glad to share that we've done more than 130 shows so far by inviting all the experts from the industry. And we have had a detailed discussion with them in terms of how should we look at market, how should we approach investment, what should be the right investment philosophy, how long you should be invested, how much money to be invested, and various questions. So we've answered every small questions which came to our webinar. So I'm glad to share that the kind of response that we are getting is very, very good, and would like to take this opportunity to thank all our investors for encouraging us to organize more and more activities. So we are very clear that the ethos of our organization is very clear, that we want to educate and empower the entire investor community as a whole and help them take the right decision. Over to you, Chetan.
Thank you, Vikas. So that's the point I wanted to make. that we keep on organizing multiple webinars in order to educate the investors, because that is the fundamental aspect of having this organization run. Because until unless you educate the investors, they won't come to know about these options, and they won't come to know about the risk and return part of the site. So that is really important. The another important part is when you are organizing these multiple webinars, we make sure that we record them and we put it on our YouTube channel. You can also have these videos present on our website as well. For example, you can see here one of the webinar which we recently had with Vaibhav Sangvi of iVendors, why invest in a long short fund. You can always go through this video. These are the YouTube, these are the recordings of what we have discussed in the webinar, just to get a glimpse of how the markets are performing, or what are the views of the different fund managers, etc. So you'll find the recordings of all the fund managers what we have discussed about. For example, ASK had one of the recently they started one of the funds called as ASK Golden Decade Fund. It was one of the AIFs and it got very subscribed fast. So we carried out a discussion on the similar topic, why to invest in ASK Golden Decade, and not why to, but exactly how this ASK Golden Decade is supposed to be run. So that these are the things what we do on a regular basis. You would also find some webinars such as from Abhinav Ashwin Shetty, who is from Marcellus. Retail chance, is it the right time to invest in? So we also had webinar with Hiren Ved, who was the co-founder and director of who is the co-founder and director of Alchemy Capital. We also had and along with him there was a Devin Ved who is present, who is also an AVP of quant research analyst at Alchemy. So these are the multiple list of webinars what we can carry out on our website, what we carry out on a regular basis, and we put it on our website as well as on our YouTube channels, so as to make sure that the investors are aware about what we have discussed. The important part of when gets associated with us is we release free newsletters on a monthly basis. So these newsletters talks about the update of what we are looking at as an organization in this upcoming month, what are the market movements or what are the right AIF and PMS strategies, and gives you a quick update about how these AIF and PMS have been working in the markets, right? So you can fetch the updates for any of the months since the day we have established our organization. So this is also available for a quick read for the HNN Ultra HNN investors like you. Another the important segments on our website is AIF and PMS performances. So when we look at our competitors, we see that while getting the AIF and PMS performances, you'll have to put in your email ID or some kind of information in order so that your data will be shared with them. But when you come to our website and you click on AIF performances, you'll see all the data easily accessible and freely available. You don't have to put your name, you don't have to put anything anywhere. Will automatically get access to everything whatever you have. So this is the AIF performance as per May 2022. Remember, just to emphasize on one particular fact, that when we say May 2022, so this is the data what we have collected till 30th April 2022, because AIF and PMS fund houses have been mandated or obliged by the SEBI that they should release the monthly data and not on a weekly basis or on quarterly basis. So every month we collect the data and we compile them in a single PDF format and make it available to the investors like you, right? So you can always scroll down with this data as well, right? I mean, you'll get a free access to what kind of returns they have generated in the past. For example, I'll just give you a quick sneak peek. When you're talking about long short fund and when we have Aventus absolute return on the top, so I'm just going to take it as a reference. The fund has been established in March 2017. In the last 1 month, it has delivered 1.3% returns. Last 1 year, they have delivered 13.31% returns. Last 5 years, they have delivered 12.48% returns. Since its inception, which is again 5 years and couple of months extra above it, they have delivered somewhere around 13% returns. So that was what I was talking about, that we have published AIF performance reports of all the fund houses what you are working with, and the data is again freely accessible. You don't have to put your number or email ID anywhere. Similarly, when we are talking about AIF performances report, we also have something which is important, which is called as PMS performances report. Just a minute. Yeah. So when you are talking about PMS performances report, these are again released on a monthly basis. So May 2022 suggests that the report was prepared as per the data which was released by these fund houses as per 30th April 2022. and I have to stay tuned to get the recent data of May end as well. I know so yeah, I mean, you'll just have to zoom a little bit, or you can download the download this as well, and you can easily open it on your laptop. This is completely free to download. You saw that I didn't have to register anywhere. That is an advantage what you have over the, not so competitors, but the peer group, I'll say, because no one is competitor here. We all are trying to improve the uh, community of AIF and PMS as a whole. So
Oh
yeah, when
yes,
you're
so we're not competing with anyone. In
right,
fact, credit goes to all the competition that they are putting equal amount of time and effort to ensure that this industry continues to grow.
very good point, Vikas. Thank you. Thanks a lot. So just to give you a quick sneaker peek to our PMS performance reports when we are talking about AMC and scheme. For example, let's talk about Ambit Coffee Can. It was established in March 2017. Last 3 months, the performance have been negative, but as I told you, don't look at the last 3 months and 6 months performance data. Let's talk about 2 years or 3 years. Last year, 2 years have been good for the markets, and they have delivered 22% CAGR returns. Last 3 years, they have delivered 18% CAGR, and since inception, the strategy itself has given 19.2% CAGR. So these were the large cap PMS. When we talk about mid cap, let's take an example of something else. Let's uh, let's go for Motilal Oswal Focus Mid Cap Strategy. It was established in December 2019. Uh, Last 1 year, they have delivered 23.42% returns. Last 2 years, they have delivered 49.06% returns. Since inception, they have delivered 34.69% returns. So these are the records what are there. Again, just to give you another example of Stage 1 core portfolio, the strategy has been up and running since April 2009. And if you look at the since inception returns, they have been what somewhere in the
No, so this 2009 is basically a backdated number. So this is a backtested number which is shown here.
okay, okay. So I'll just give that example. Probably we can go with a unified blended Rangoli. So it
Yeah,
has,
understood. We can come
okay.
out. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So uh, basically the point of showing you all this is we have put up the data for small cap and multi-cap PMS fund managers as well. We also have put up the data for thematic fund managers as well. So it's basically what I was trying to say is it's a very quick and easy access for all the investors, and you don't have to share your data anywhere with us. It's completely free of cost, right? So yeah, coming to the next part, we also talk about blogs, what we have released from our on our website. For example, this is a blog what Vikas has written about IFL PMS and key benefits from the investing perspective. So what are the different types of IFL PMSs? What are the details of the fund manager? For example, Mr. Mitul Patel, he is the post of senior vice president. He has 14 years of experience, and so currently he's the fund manager. So he has written about the fund manager as well. What are the strategy they are involved into? What are the advantages and disadvantages? And what are the additional features? So basically, it just gives you a quick sneaker peek again. In a short period of time, in a couple of minutes, you'll get an idea about what kind of PMS it is, and what should you will it be the right idea to invest in them or not. So there are multiple blogs which are present on our site. You can just click on all blogs. I'll just walk you through it, and you'll see these many number of blogs. You can always go and read anything about it anywhere on the site. Again, coming back to the original homepage what we are on. Yeah, so we again, it is very important that the amount of work what we have been putting forward, we are very fortunate, and it is one of our pleasure, cherry on the cake, that we have been invited, or Vikas has been invited as a AIF and PMS expert on multiple media houses such as Z Business for a couple of times. One was during the Diwali, during the Lakshmi Pujan, and this was again one of the feather in the cap. So you can always visit these videos which are present on the website. There is no, I mean, these are the direct links which are associated with the YouTubes, right? So yeah, we have also published client testimonials on our website. Why? Because when we started the business, it was more of a digital base, and we know for the fact that this establishing trust on a digital platform was a slightly difficult phenomena. So we started taking up the client testimonials and put it on the website, so that it is available for the investors or new investors easily, and they can always have a look. It's always good to listen from someone who has been witnessing the experience. So yeah, we one of the greatest achievement what we have had recently is we have been awarded as a best promising startup uh, from the Indian Achievers Award in 2020 and 2021. So there's a small section, book a call with our experts. You can just fill in your basic details if you are looking or keen on investing on AIF on PMS, or even if you want to have a knowledge-based interaction with Vikas or any of our team members, so that you'll get a detailed interaction with us. So that's pretty much from the
Can you
main.
scroll it? Can you scroll it down a bit? Yeah.
Sure.
So there is this box subscribe to us. Can you go up a little bit? Yeah, just go up. Yeah. So if you subscribe to our newsletter, then all the blogs that we are talking about or videos that will start coming to your inbox as in when we publish, so that you get to know more about it. And plus, we also have expert view section where we take the views from the experts, and that also will start coming to you. Now, if you look at just scroll it down, what we've done is we also have AIF and PMS products. So all the AIFs and PMSs products that we cover, all of them have been given a separate page out here, and we've taken down all the details. For example, I would request Chetan to please open up any of the page, like maybe a backus emerging opportunity. Yeah. So if you come here, what we've done is we've given you details about the company first, then the little bit of snapshot about the fund, the track record when it was started, the year of inception, the number of stocks, the investment horizon, and who is managing the portfolio. And then a little bit about the portfolio manager, more about what sort of investment philosophy has been followed for managing the fund, and then some prepared some FAQs based on the kind of questions that we get. So whole idea is to give you complete understanding about the product, so that you take the right and informed decision before you invest in any of these funds. So likewise, you want to see any of the PMSs, all the PMSs will be given. Now what we've done is we've also showing you the performance of these schemes. So ever since they've started, how has been the performance? For example, a Bacchus growth fund, ever since it has started, it has ended up delivering 26.6% CAGR returns, which to my mind is one of the best, performing schemes in India when it comes to AIF. So likewise, what we do is we also show you the same data in a graphical representation. And I'm glad to share that nobody in PMS industry is able to do so. So we've been showcasing you the performance of the various strategies vis-a-vis the benchmark. So that clearly indicates that how has been the performance journey of the scheme. So as you can see here, the way Chetan is scrolling it down. Uh, yeah, Chetan, over to you.
So thank you, Vikas, for again a generous introduction. And what we'll do, we'll now, since you have already walked through a home page, I think it'd be a good idea for us to walk through the about us page, and then slowly we'll go through it, right? So when we go through about us, we'll have multiple tabs open. Again, just a quick glances through each of these pages. Obviously, you can always visit the home page, and you'll always get a quick this thing, quick knowledge about what we are doing. So as I described you that we have received one of the best startup award recently from Indian Achievers Award in 2020 and 2021 for a promising startup, which was presented to us as a company, and Vikas was invited to receive this award. This was from Indian Achievers Forum, and yeah, so this is one of the award which was a feather in the cap and which was recently discovered. So that's why we have put it on our website. Uh, So what we'll do, we'll skip the all this part and we'll go to the login first. So when we are going to the login, uh, just a minute, I'll just start from the day one. So when you see this AIF, this is our homepage, what we are looking at right now. You'll see on the right corner, there's a login, right? Once you click on the login, you'll see, okay, what I'll do, I'll log in for you again. Okay. So you can log in always with your phone number. You put your number, you put your phone number and you'll get an OTP on your registered number. It will be a 4-number based OTP, which I've received right now. I'm putting it in. When once you put the OTP, you are here, you are on the website. So now what is important here is, this is a dashboard what you have, right? It's on a dashboard. You'll see multiple PMS fund houses along with the strategy versus indices returns. And it will be, you don't even have to go anywhere. You don't even have to download the PMS performance report. It is right in front of you. And I just took your mobile number and that's all. I mean, that's all you have to do. Put your mobile number and that's it. You'll get all the data accessible to you, right? So you can always filter them with multiple filters such as multi-cap, then small cap. Let's say if you go for small caps, if you just go for small cap, you'll see Abacus Emerging Power, Acura Cap Pico Power, Aditya Birla Selector Portfolio, etc. Then you can always have large cap multiple portfolios or mid cap mid cap PMS options, and it will easily filter the data, right? So as I stated, this data which is uploaded on the website is as per the 30th April 2022. So every month end, team at the background will update this data and you will be served with the new fresh data, right? The another important column what we have is PMS comparison. On the left side of your screen, can you if you select on the PMS comparison and if you click anything, for example, let's take an example of multi-cap, and let's say we take an example of let's take MK. Here in MK, we'll take MK lead PMS, and in case of another PMS, we are taking an example of, let's say, Abacus. Yeah, so when we take the Abacus has only one multi-cap portfolio which is called as all-cap approach, and we click on the compare. Voila, you'll have everything in front of you. MK lead PMS in the last 3 years it has delivered 11.9% returns. In the last 2 years it has delivered 18.1% returns. In the last 1 year, MK has delivered 10% returns, whereas Abacus has delivered 29.8% returns, and so on. I mean, you can always track the data. So this is a pictorial representation. As I told you that we are the only one who in the industry is developing this. We'll also have such kind of information about what kind of strategy it is, what is the category, which is the AMC name, when their inception, when was the inception of this portfolio fund houses or the strategies. You can always have the name of the fund manager wherever it is mentioned. Actually, what we do is we send them a particular format in which we need the data, and whenever they declare this information, it is always available on the website, right? So you'll also see the returns, performance-wise returns of the indices versus strategy. We'll also put the allocation cap, how much allocation has been into the large cap, mid cap, and small cap for both the strategies. Then we also have top 5 stock holdings, which is very important nowadays because a lot of investors are looking at such kind of information, right? So we also have top 5 sectors what they have been allocated. For example, MK has allocated top of highest contribution to financial services. Uh, then they have also allocated some amount of money to specialty chemicals, IT, gems and jewelry, etc. Whereas Abacus currently is sitting on a good amount of cash equivalent, and then they have invested a good amount of money into computer softwares, banks, and other financial services. So this kind of information which will be available to you guys, right? So apart from that, you'll also have top funds which are performing, as per their 1 year based returns. So when you are talking about top 5 funds, Nijin has delivered maximum returns across all the strategies, and it has delivered 47.29% returns. This is a multi-cap top 5 funds, right? Then you go to small cap top 5 funds, you will have Minerva, which has delivered 96.3% returns in the last 1 year. Mid cap top 5 funds, Unified Blend Rangoli has delivered 33.6% top 5 returns in the last 1 year. Then again, large cap top 5 funds, we have LIC MF Value Equity P plus PMS, which has delivered 21% returns, 20.9% returns in the last 1 year. In case of thematic funds, we have Right Horizons Alpha Board India Prime Portfolio, which is delivered 26.52% returns. And in multi-asset, we have multi-cap portfolio from NJ Asset Manager, which has delivered 33.5% returns. So this is the pretty much about the PMS part. You can always come onto this login page and you can always play with it, so that you'll have a better idea and better insights about how this page gets operated. When you are going to AI performance, again, in case of AI performances, if you go to long only, you'll see this fund list of funds and their performances and return. For example, I'll take a Bacchus growth fund one as an example. It's a long only strategy. It has a AUM of 450 CR. The performance is in front of you. In the last 1 month, it has delivered negative 1.4% returns. And again, ignoring the first three parts and just
Yeah,
focusing
that's
on,
okay. Yeah.
yeah. So we can always have a AIF comparison as well. Again, the similar manner, you can select on long only or long short. Let's say Roha here. I'm just picking up the fund houses randomly, please.
Sure.
Yeah. So White Oak, and you'll see the returns. You'll, rather than returns, what one should look at is a detailed overview what you have just by putting your phone number at one glance,
So
right?
just want to add one thing. Can you go up a little bit? So we are the only platform in India, and I'm glad to share that, who is providing this graphical representation, which is called Doodh Ka Doodh and Pani Ka Pani in Hindi, which is like who has delivered the highest performance. So this data, as you can clearly see, that how Roha has outperformed. Of course, this is not the right comparison because Roha has invested in small cap and White Oak has invested in multi cap. So one disclaimer here that if you're looking at only AIF comparison within the long only strategy, then this needs to be referred. But of course, you also need to look at whether it is what is the underlying, whether it is large cap, mid cap, or multi cap. But this sort of data is very much available to you.
Right.
Over to you.
So again, similarly, what we discuss in PMS, in case of AIF also, you'll have brief information about strategy, category, AMC, inception date, fund manager, what is the AUM currently they are managing, and will also have some information regarding the performances as well, right?
Oh,
So again, you have a multiple AIF funds, and you can always have a quick, look through this. What are the asset classes they invest into? What are the category it is? What is the fund type? And again, what are the different AIF options are there? And who are the fund managers for it? Right? You can always scroll through these, and these are the multiple options what are available, right? So as a quick service tab on the left side, we can always click on the PMS performance report, AI performance reports, newsletters, and the videos. So this will basically have links, hyperlinks directly adjacent to it, so that you don't have to go through the complete web page, and it will be available at you. It will be available to you in a single click, right? So yeah, that's pretty much about this from me from the login section, right?
yeah. So let
Okay.
me just take you through the other thing, which is NRI and family office. So can you just go to NRI? So what happens is there are a lot of NRIs who are interested in investing in Indian markets because everybody knows that India is in the verge of becoming $5 trillion economy by 2027. What our honorable Prime Minister talks about and dreams about. So what we've done is we've created a separate section because we've got NRI clients from 10 different countries, client from Oman, we client from Dubai, from Spain. So these are the different countries where our NRIs have gone and staying there and they have shown a lot of interest. So when it comes to investing in AIF and PMS, uh, most of the time it has been observed that they do not have enough data points. And these NRIs are very, very particular in terms of looking at the data points and before they finally commit the money. So we thought of creating a separate desk altogether. So this desk is headed by my colleague Devanshu at AIF and PMS Experts India, where he would know exactly what all documents which is required before you invest in AIF PMS, whether you are eligible to invest in AIF or PMS or not. For example, if you have a PIS account with Yes Bank, then Yes Bank do not extend their PIS account with HDFC. Therefore, you may not be able to invest in a Bacchus if you wish to invest in a Bacchus. So all these small details are provided by us time to time. Can you just scroll it down a bit? Yeah. So what we do is, so there are two ways to look at these NRIs can invest, AIF and PMS. uh, I all strongly recommend all our NRIs friends to consider AIF, because AIF is one. It is an instrument, where it's a perfect blend of mutual fund and PMS. And B is that the documentation is very minimal as compared to PMS. So I always suggest all our NRI clients to consider investing in AIF if it is investment in listed equities. Uh, yeah, so that's on the equity, and then we look at the eligibility criteria of the NRIs. Can you keep scrolling it down? Yeah, so what are the eligibility? What all things that required in terms of documentation? Whether it is repatriable or non-repatriable? What sort of commitment? Is there a limit or there is no limit? So all that needs to be looked at very, very carefully. So we have a separate desk for that, and then we help all our NRI clients to do the complete transaction end to end. Then we also have come out with family office concept. So what is AIF PMS family office is, there was one way of managing family office very, very conservatively with instruments like mutual funds, etc. Now things are changing. Things are changing fast now. These treasuries are expecting and demanding more returns, because your inflation rate itself has gone up to now 7%, 7.5%, and your fixed income instruments are delivering 6%. So in a way, you are kind of eroding your wealth by a percent or a half. So they are looking out for some sort of solution. So for example, some family offices, they are not so familiar with this concept called long short strategy. So what they do is essentially they put their money in arbitrage fund. Now what arbitrage fund is offering 4.5, 5% returns, and post taxes you end up getting 4%, which is 2% lower than the inflation numbers. But there is something called long short fund, which is, in terms of risk, it may be equivalent or slightly more riskier than arbitrage, but it has been generating 6.5% return very, very consistently for over 3 to 5 years in India. So this category is emerging well. So what we do is, I'm just giving you examples. So what we do is, we manage this family office money absolutely differently. So within the AIF and PMS, we allocate money. So if it is a mutual fund investment in normal equity fund, so instead of that, we prefer to invest money through either AIF or PMS, where there are possibility of getting 1 or 2% additional alpha than the mutual funds. And I I can go on can tell you that there are portfolio managers in India who have end up delivering more than 25% CAGR returns for 10 long years. Generally, these numbers are not, rare to find when it comes to mutual funds. Again, there's nothing right and wrong. It's just that the way we manage the portfolio. So we have a separate desk for a family office, and family office desk is managed by me myself along with my colleague Devanshu and Romit Barat. So what we do is, we put a lot of efforts in terms of understanding the need of the family, because every family office will have different needs. So we understand the risk appetite. We have a questionnaire which we expect clients to fill in and give it to us, so that we understand the risk, and based on that we derive the strategy, understand the time frame, and the different time frame monies profits are booked at the regular interval. The top up is done when the markets are doing bad. So a lot of active management work that we do out there. uh, then when it comes to products, so what we do is, in the product side, we have AIF and PMS. These are the only two products that we look at. So within AIF, you have three different categories: Cat 1, Cat 2, Cat 3. So in each of the category, we have. Can you click on the category 1 and say showcase? So these are the funds that comes under the category 1, and then you can go about investing in those categories. And there are category 2 and category 3 funds. So you can look at that as well. Then on the PMS side, we what we've done is, there, of course, SEBI does not have any kind of classification, unlike mutual fund, which is large cap, mid cap, small cap. But for our investors to be able to understand this well, we have categorized them in for 5 different buckets, like large cap, mid cap, multi cap, small cap, multi asset, and thematic, so that they will not have any sort of difficulties to understand this product in details. Then other thing is the knowledge aspect. So what we do is, first we have prepared a very good FAQ, frequently asked question, because we can you go to AIF and PMS corner? Yeah, about next to about us. Yeah. So here, if you look at FAQ, then there is separate FAQ for AIF and separate FAQ for PMS. Can you go to AIF FAQ? Yeah. So what happens is that since we keep on interacting with investors and they have a lot of questions, so what we do is we do the backward work out here of capturing their questions and then preparing the answer and then putting up in our website so that the next investor who comes, they can ready-madely, read these data points before they come and interact with us. So idea is to, as I said, educate and empower the investor community. So what is cat 1, what is cat 2, cat 3, all these are well defined by us, as much as possible. Then the other thing that we look at is the knowledge, as Chetan has already covered up. Knowledge, we write blogs on a weekly basis. We provide current updates about AIF PMS. We provide, we also helping our distributor, mutual fund distributor, to clear the exam for PMS, which NISM and SEBI has defined that as 11A exam, which everybody needs to clear. So we are helping them to clear that. Can you click on the education part, Chetan? Education, yeah. Then AIF performance, everything is given. So we are helping all our kind of investors to basically clear this exam. So we are taking all sort of efforts which is required. We are committed to contribute in this industry significantly and help all our investor and distributor friends to kind of grow this industry. So I think we've covered up everything. Anything that you want to add, Chetan, or we conclude the session here?
So I think we have explained pretty much about all the things what we wanted to cover. And thank you, Vikas, for coming over the call. And it was a good interaction as usual. So we'll also put up the number of Vikas and Devanshu at at the end of this video. So if you have any queries, eventually you can always get in touch with them, and they'll be the primary person of contact with you. It was lovely having an interaction with you, Vikas. Thank you for coming over the call.
All right. Thank you, Chetan. You explained it very nicely, and I take this opportunity to thank all our investors for watching our show. And we'll keep doing a lot of value add, all I can say. So thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, sir. Thanks a lot.